Hello again, YouTube. I am your host, Light. And this is our third video so far. Hopefully there'll be more. Today, we are going to be going on a bit of a fun topic adventure. Not so mired in, it kind of is, you'll see, but not so completely mired in the day-to-day fucking goddamn drudge of living in 2020 and implications that have come up during and before 2020. So today I chose to talk about the fall of Alex Jones. Now, everybody knows who that is. Everybody knows who that is. I almost wouldn't believe someone if they said they didn't know who he was at this point. Alex Jones is I would say, pretty far-right conspiracy theorist, radio talk show host guy. He's been there since the 90s. And he basically started a little bit around the Waco, Ruby Ridge, Oklahoma City bombing era, right? He started a little after that, really sticking it to, like, the FBI and shit, right? So, like, he would walk up to FBI people giving completely unrelated to those things I just mentioned events, and, like, he would harass them and, like, say all this stuff that, we know that you're controlling these things! We know that you're the New World Order! That was already starting back then. So, fast forward a little bit, you get to 9/11, and this is where I personally believe the Alex Jones we know today was born. Because by then he already had a radio show, a little studio and the mic set up and everything, right? And he was already giving these soliloquies of everything that's wrong with the world and why it has to be wacky and why it can't be explained by any normal means. So I believe that's when the Alex Jones we all know and love, quote unquote, I guess, was born. And, of course, to follow in the pattern of events that he's been involved with, 9/11 was not a normal event. Now, we'll get to some reasons later why this one in particularly, specifically on only, is a little bit forgivable because of what the United States provably did with Vietnam and attempted to do with Cuba. So we basically false flagged and lied ourselves into war with both of the countries I just mentioned. And that was completely documented by everybody. You can look it up anywhere. You can find it. You can also find the U.S. officials that lied under oath saying that those things didn't happen. That's interesting too. But, so that's why I say this one's a little bit more forgivable. But it's not like the other two in that they had actual evidence that showed and linked where the U.S. lied about what, when we staged what. And 9/11 has no such evidence. And, in fact, has mounting evidence to the contrary. So it's, as far as I can tell, completely false. The 9/11 conspiracy. 15 Saudi Arabian hijackers killed those people that day. And that's the end of that. But the point is, that's where I think he began. And as you can see, this is already a very in-depth and target-locked view of how the world works. And it has to center around a certain mindset. So that mindset was born there is what my point was. So let's get into some of the things that he got right over the years. So, NSA spying. That's a real conspiracy. We'll get to a little bit more in depth later. The National Security Agency was basically gifted everybody's privacy. There's no privacy anymore. It's gone. Your Fourth Amendment rights are gone. And Alex Jones was one of the loudest opposition voices to this. That's true. However, that's one thing. He's also ostensibly against the Iraq war and things like that. But, I mean, he really doesn't criticize that as much as he does satanic demon baby eating reptile worshippers. So, I don't really think he gets too much points for that, or the other thing for that matter anymore. Let's get into now. The list of what he got right was very short, as you can see. Let's get into now some of the falling, I would say, pieces. Or let me just rephrase that. Let's get into some of what brought down the Alex Jones ship that was so well established for so many years and had so many people completely believing every word he spoke as if it were gospel out of their Bibles. Let's get into that. So, this one is pretty self-explanatory. World War III. That's a real hard one to talk about. Something that hasn't happened yet, and something that could happen for a number of different reasons at any time. So he just basically exploited that and fear-mongered that and used some days where he didn't know what to talk about that day because it was a slow Alex Jones news day, I suppose, to scream into his microphone about how usually Democrats are going to start World War III. Reasons why? Let's say some of my reasons, maybe. World War III starts because the U.S. wants to, or is losing the economic war with China. Physical war breaks out. That would be a decent reason for World War III. Alex Jones's reason. Satanic cabal of Democrat vampires, literally. That's what's going to start World War III. First red sign that this motherfucker's going off the rails. Completely. Just utterly out of his ass. There's nothing to go on here at all. There's plenty you can discuss and mess around with and misrepresent with the 9/11 thing. There's nothing to go on here. Satanic cabals of Democrats randomly? Yeah, sorry, buddy. We're going to need a little bit more proof than that. Than your word that they're satanic. Because, and then you'll show, like, pictures of things saying, like, oh, look, a fly landed on Obama. Well, we just had the vice presidential debates. A fly landed on Mike Pence. Is he a demon, too? Okay, yeah, I didn't think so. I didn't think you'd be making the Mike Pence is a demon confirmed video next week. Let's get into another one. The Machete movie. Now, this was Danny Trejo's Machete, right? It was years back, and it's just kind of a cheesy action flick of a political revolution and stuff, right? Political guy, rise up with machetes against our oppressors. Okay, so Alex Jones took that and ran to the hills with it and said that Danny Trejo and Robert Rodriguez, the movie's director, are going to spark a race war against white people. So now you know that whenever Alex Jones claims he isn't racist at all and he's not racially... Well, years ago, this isn't recent, years ago, this motherfucker was talking about race wars against white people. Basically, white genocide arguments that plenty of neo-fascist, neo-Nazis, whatever neo-fucking crazies you want to call them, use today. He said that Mexican Americans would rise up and attack white people, conservative politicians. Well, maybe not enough of them saw it because literally jack shit happened. So, Pizzagate. Now, this is another sketchy territory because there is a pedophile cabal, and it was on Jeffrey Epstein's island, which Bill Clinton visited many times. Whoa, then QAnon's right! Right, dude! Oh my god, the Clintons, the Democrats, they're on the pedophile cabal. Wait, hold on. Donald Trump also visited many times. So there was a bit of a pedophile cabal, but it was not the Democrats. It was sick people, is what a normal human being would describe them as. Not Democrats. Not Republicans either. Sick people. The emails of pizza referencing language. Look, I don't know what that specifically is, and I don't need to know what that specifically was to denounce that what he is positing, that it's a Democrat-run pedophile ring, is insane. By the way, let me just... Isn't this all, like, so unbelievably entertaining stupidity? Like, no wonder so many people were watching this guy. I mean, like, we were all watching to say, like, what the fuck crazy bullshit is this motherfucker gonna say next? Because you never know. 1 week it's World War III, the next week it's Democrats pedophile ring for the Democrats, and they're controlling the babies, they're vampiring the babies, the interdimensional demons are coming in. I'm telling you right now that the New World Order has brought in the interdimensional beings, they're taking the children, they're eating their heads. What is it going to be next week? No wonder everyone was watching him. This motherfucker he was like a WWE heel come to life and had a radio show. Okay? Oh, this is a good one. The fall of Alex Jones. Sandy Hook. Now, this one's just fucked up. Like, all the other ones are fucked up for their obvious reasons, but this one's really fucked up. Like, he just basically lied without any evidence, made fun of grieving parents, and exploited a massive school shooting for no reason, and said it's fake and that Obama did it or something so that he can take away the guns, which never even got close to happening because no one wants to do that. That was just fucked up. I don't know what to say about that. I don't even like talking about it because of how fucked up it is. Not obviously, it's totally inaccurate. But it's also just, why did you do that? You could have, like I just went on a minute ago, like satanic stuff. Like, that's more vague and non-provable. Like, this is provable and it's fucked up and specific. This was one of my biggest, or the biggest, not just for me, but for everybody, signs that he's forever off the rails now. But let's move on. This one's fun. The gay bomb. U.S. Pentagon tested gay bomb. You heard about this one? Maybe not. But I bet you have heard about, they're turning the frickin' frogs gay! Well, that came from the gay bomb. So there was a segment on one of his radio shows one time where he had somebody pull up the gay bomb for me. And they pulled up this fucking Wikipedia lookalike thing that said the gay bomb. It had like a bomber. And it said that, like, you know, the U.S. is bombing people in Iraq and stuff with the gay bomb to make people gay. Because obviously normal people can't be gay. You have to get bombed by the gay bomb to be gay, right? So I don't even know what the fuck got in the newsroom that day for the gay bomb to be the topic of discussion, but that's what I'm saying. It's like a magic hat and you pulling out next fucking... You can never even once call what's going to come out of this hat because it's crazier and zanier every fucking time. It's just endless entertainment with this guy, but it's also... It's sadly... You can't feel good about being entertained by it because of the shit I just said a minute ago. Sandy Hook. Like, what the fuck did you do that for? You just ruined your whole thing. Your whole thing is being entertaining and riling people up and getting them to... You're basically a rabble-rouser. And then you go from that to... Oh, these parents, they're fake tears. They're not really crying that their fucking kids got shot. It's like, Jesus Christ, man. So, there's really no excuse to be dabbling in all of this hilarious, made up, obviously made up, like provably bullshit conspiracy zones when we have a number of who knows how many, but we know that there's a lot. I'm about to get into some. A number, big number, of objectively, factually verifiable conspiracies. Okay? So when we have those, why are we talking about Sandy Hook? Why are we talking about the gay bomb? Why are we talking about World War III from the satanic cabal of Democrats and Pizzagate and machete race wars? Why are we talking about that if we're not insane? Which he is. But many people used to, I'm sure some still do, defend that he's not crazy and he's a truth teller. Sometimes he gets it wrong. No, he's insane! If there's real conspiracies, I have a full page and halfway on the back of just a few written down conspiracies. Let's get into some. Number one, in 1953, the CIA began a mind control operation under the name MK Ultra, which involved using massive doses of LSD and electroshock therapy in an attempt to create a mindless drone programmed to kill without a thought or a conscience. This was one of the most documented, biggest leaks, by the way, too. Horrific cases of the United States literally just engaging in human experimentation. Secret human experimentation on top of that. Not even publicly known and volunteered human experimentation. If he brings up MK Ultra, it's probably to say that the Democrats want to control you to vote for them instead of Trump, and also to make your kids go get eaten by them. When really, we have the facts right here, and it's damning enough. It's damning enough. It was an attempt to create mindless drones like Terminators that go and find and kill whoever they're told to go kill. That's worse than what he would bring up. Number two, Operation Paperclip. The U.S. recruited 1,600 Nazi scientists. Enough said. U.S. also denied it, by the way, in court, lying under oath, only later to be proven wrong in front of the entire American public. Number three, Operation Northwoods. In 1962, the U.S. planned terrorist attacks on its own citizens in order to lie us into a political war with communist Cuba. Now, as I mentioned earlier in the video, that's why the 9/11 thing with him was a little bit more forgivable than like Sandy Hook. Because the U.S., this is one of the instances of the U.S. factually setting up false events and discussed heavily killing actual, real live Americans, not faking it, but killing real alive Americans. Just so we can go to war with a political enemy, Cuba, because they're communist and they're not supporting us anymore. They stopped selling out their country to us. If you go look at the facts, that's what happened. It was a military dictatorship that sold all of their valuable resources to extremely low rates to the U.S. Castro led a revolution, overthrew him, and then he said, we're going to support us, and we're not going to sell all our stuff to you for exorbitantly low rates anymore. The U.S. freaked out. What? You're not going to give everything to us? Well, then we're going to overthrow you. We're going to kill you. We're going to kill you in cold fucking blood because we're the United States. We believe in freedom and democracy, not communism. So basically, because he was communist, we went over there, Bay of Pigs, look it up, Northwoods, look it up. We were going to kill our own citizens, blame it on Cuba, go to war with Cuba, because they're political enemies with us. That's it. That's the reason. They wouldn't sell us the shit. At the rates, they were still going to sell stuff to us. We're the ones that set up the embargo afterwards, like, oh, no, you didn't fire me. We quit. Embargo. We're not going to buy anything from you. They already said they're not going to sell anything to us. We're not going to buy anything from you. We quit, Cuba. Pathetic. Number 4, NSA Spying. In 2013, Edward Snowden blew the whistle on the NSA collecting hundreds of millions of Americans' online metadata, including internet searches, downloads, phone calls, text messages, and more. Alex Jones only brought this up 1 or 2 times in his entire 20 plus years of being Mr. Conspiracy. He brought it up one time semi-factually, and then the next time he brought up the NSA spying, it was just to pretend that Obama was spying on Trump, his beloved Trump. This is a huge, real conspiracy that's still happening. Most of these other ones I listed, they're not happening anymore. MK Ultra, dead. Didn't work. Paperclip, I mean, I guess that happened, but it's been a while. Northwoods, dead. Didn't work. NSA Spying, that's happening right the fuck now. To you, to me, to everyone you know. They have all your calls, all your phone calls, or all your texts, all your searches, all your downloads, all anything. Like I said, eliminating your Fourth Amendment right to privacy and unreasonable search and seizure. Number 5. Now, he's mentioned this one to say that it was like Bill Clinton that did this. It was Bill Clinton. I'm afraid it's not that simple. And he only mentioned it once or twice, by the way. Guatemala syphilis experiment. Don't know if you've heard of this one, but this one's a doozy. And real. From 1946 to 1948, U.S. operatives landed in Guatemala City and began secretly infecting over 1,500 people with syphilis to test the effectiveness of penicillin, a pharmaceutical industry drug that had recently arrived on the scene and gained popularity. Because we pay for healthcare in this country like a fucking caveman's country. So that process eventually led, I guess, some dubious scientists to just infect 1,500 people with it willy-nilly. No problem. Let's just see if it works. Look, they're Guatemalans. It doesn't matter. They're not humans with thoughts, dreams, hopes, and prayers. They're Guatemalans. It is objectively verifiable that 83 people at the very least, and this is just what we know, that 83 people died during said experiments, which had the approval of the Rockefeller Foundation and Johns Hopkins University. I mean, it could just go on and on and on with the amount of obfuscation and fake bullshit that this man really is. Because he never gets into this. He gets into what we talked about earlier, the gay bomb. 6 decades after the syphilis experiments, Susan Reverby, a professor, uncovered the operation in 2005, and 1.5 more decades later, Donald Trump sings the praises of at least one of these organizations, Johns Hopkins University. Oh, they're a wonderful organization, great people, one of some of the best people I've ever met. Let me just tell you, they're amazing. They gave me Regeneron. I feel wonderful. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody told him how evil the Rockefeller Foundation was, that he wouldn't be singing their praises as well. But this gets into a bit more of another issue with Alex Jones and why the fall here is important. He has the ear of the President of the United States. This is one of the biggest problems that has ever happened in this country. You have the gay bomb guy. They're turning the frogs gay! You have the president watching every broadcast and repeating it verbatim in every news interview, COVID rally, almost as if he was employed by InfoWars and Alex was feeding him these lines. That might be a conspiracy. Well, guess what? It would be a conspiracy with more evidence than any of these things that Alex has talked about over the years. Minus NSA spying once or twice, and maybe I'm against the Iraq War. So, just wanted to dive into that a little bit, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Remember to like and subscribe. Trying to make this thing happen over here. Like the light and subscribe below, motherfuckers. The light is coming.